Okay, so there are some really easy things that I guarantee 99% of you who are watching this video can do to improve your pro club's ability drastically. If you're stuck in Division 4, 5, 6, 7, it doesn't matter. It could be worse. Then this video is for you. Now, we've played a lot of clubs, and although we do not claim to be the best, we are good at the game. We're currently 94 wins and 0 losses. Tonight's stream, we go for the 100 and 0. Oh, please, could we not bottle? Anyway, like and subscribe and all that good stuff if you enjoy. And of course, a quick word to OneFootball for sponsoring this video. The link at the top of the description, you can download their app for free, Android or iOS. I wouldn't recommend it if I didn't use it myself. And as I always say at the moment, giving you the latest breaking news on all of the coronavirus updates in football. God, we want football back. So I've been playing pro clubs for a very long time, and 99% of people make the same mistakes, and I'm here to try and help you guys eradicate those mistakes. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. When you're sat in the lobby, make sure you change the filters. So many people don't do this. You probably want to have on, off, on. Most people play with an any, so you want to have that on so you match against another team with an any. Off because most people do not play with a goalkeeper, so you want to match against the CPU goalkeeper as it's usually easier to score. And then minimum opposition is a bit of a weird one. Basically, you want that on because if you have 4 players, you're only going to match up against 6, or you could match up against 2. If you have that off, there's the odd chance you could match up against 8 or 9, which makes the game a little bit more difficult. If you have 2 players, I believe the maximum you can match with is 4 or 5. I haven't played pro clubs with 2 players for quite a long time, so I'm not even sure. But basically, that's what we use, on, off, on. Now, if you are someone who plays without an any, I can already hear you. You don't play pro clubs properly. Listen, all you need to do is have the any filter on. If you play without an any, have it on. If you play with an any, play it on. Everybody's happy. Nobody matches someone who doesn't play the same way as them. Whilst we're staying in the lobby, formation is massively important, and there really are only 2 that me and my mates will use on FIFA 20, and that is 5-2-1-2 and 4-1-2-1-2 narrow. Of course, this is just my tips to you guys on how and what works for us. Some of you might not want to play these formations, some of you might think I'm talking complete rubbish, but those 2 formations seem to work for us, and there really aren't too many other ones on FIFA 20 that are playable in clubs. The first big thing that I would suggest doing if you want the best balance on pro clubs is playing with 4 players. Now, that doesn't mean kicking out mates. 5 is fine. Ideally, though, when we play with 4. So we have a CDM, we have a cam, we have me and striker, and then our other striker is set up as the any. Always works if you're playing with an any to have the striker in the any position as the positioning of the non-controlled pro when he's in centre mid or right back. It can be a bit random. Striker tends to keep him at least involved in the attack. That's just how we play, and it works for us. Now that we've got that sorted, the final thing to look at is player builds. I did update a striker build yesterday on the channel. It's on screen right now. You can click it in the top right hand corner. Links also in the description, or if you just go onto my channel, it's literally right there. The best updated striker build for me that, again, I use. Okay, I need to talk about builds. Now, this might sound a little bit complicated, but I'm going to do my best to make it as simple as possible. There are only 3 builds that you need if you're going to play in any position on pro clubs. Left wing back, left mid, striker. Now that might sound a little bit mental to you, and if it's your first time hearing it, it should do. But listen to what I've got to say. If you're playing in striker, obviously you're going to use that striker build. Now if you're playing in cam, I would recommend using a striker build setup as well. You can use a left mid build in cam. The one thing you cannot do is put yourself set up as a centre attacking mid in the build options. The pace is absolutely awful. The shooting is rubbish. Just trust me, guys, you do not want to do it. All of the stats overall are worse. So if you're playing in striker or you're playing in cam, which you're going to be doing in the formations that I've picked out for you guys, set yourself up as a striker or a left mid. Left mid has slightly better passing and I think a little bit better pace, but the striker overall for me works just as a really nice build for cam. Don't get me wrong, it would be nice to be able to set up as a cam and play in cam, but EA Sports, do you know what I mean? They broke. Yeah. Okay, so obviously if you don't choose to play one of the formations we spoke about and you do play with wingers, so if a 4-3-3 is what you like, you can set yourself up as a left mid in one of those wide positions. Not a bad one to do. For the purpose of this video, let's stick to the 4-1-2-1-2 narrow and 5-2-1-2. So we've covered striker, we've covered cam. DM and centre mids, effectively, are what we're looking at now. If you're playing a centre mid but you're more attacking, I would set yourself up as a left mid. If you're playing in centre mid but you're more defensive, so more of a CDM, 100% set yourself up as a left wing back. The stats are better. Overall, the pace is just so much higher than you will be in CDM, and this goes for all defensive positions. I'm talking left back, right back, I'm talking wing back, I'm talking centre back. Make sure you play as a wing back build, guys. It is all you need to do. So if you're getting a little bit confused right now, just remember, striker, left mid, or left wing back. Those are the only 3 builds that I want to see you guys using on pro clubs if you really want to improve, because playing in left back is just worse than setting yourself up as a left wing back. Playing as a centre back build, you're better off being a left wing back, guys. Everybody who plays 11-man pro clubs to a pretty high level, all of the defensive players who do play in centre back are using a wing back build. So any defensive position, I want to see you using left wing back, or of course right wing back, doesn't make a difference. If you're playing in cam, I want to see left mid or striker, and obviously if you're up front in striker, I want to see striker. You can put yourself as right forward or left forward. Literally, that is just a visual change. It doesn't change any of your stats in striker, so it's down to what you want to see your pro look like. Right, now that we're getting into games, as soon as the game starts and you're using one of these 2 formations that I've recommended, put it straight into defensive by ticking the D-pad down left once and then again so that it goes into defensive. Be aware your fullbacks will tend to push up automatically, so try not to get caught on the counter. This defensive setting does kind of stop that a little bit. I find ultra defensive is a little bit too much and your defense are too far back and they can allow teams to invite a press onto you. Defensive works for us, and while you're in the any position, use the radar to track runs. A lot of people don't use that radar to pick up on the striker running in behind the fullback. You want to select as soon as you see the opposition get possession of the ball on the edge of their box off of your striker. Most people are going to look to play a big ball towards a striker, right? And the striker's going to have more pace than most CPU defenders. So find out using that mini-map at the bottom of your screen where the striker's making his run, whether it's the top of the pitch or the bottom, and try and select that CPU to stop his run or at least go with him. Okay guys, so corners. A lot of people rush them, and I'm talking about when you're taking a corner and they end up getting caught on counters and we score a lot of goals that way. Make sure your DM doesn't take your corners. Try and have him back at least, and try and get some of the players back. We take a lot of our corners short, most of them, to be honest. Often in like a really tough Division 1 game, when we're trying to keep our record and not lose, we'll just take the corner short because we don't want to risk getting countered. Kind of matches up with my next point about crossing, guys. So many teams cross. If we get into a game and we see somebody run down the wing and cross it, we kind of know we've won. And that, as arrogant as that sounds, it's just the truth. If I see somebody in the first attack of their game, they kick off, they go wide, cross it in, I'm like, oh, okay, they don't know how to play the game. Because crossing is just... it's not even crossing that's the problem, guys. It's heading. Heading is so inconsistent on FIFA 20. They tried to nerf it from FIFA 19. It definitely worked, but heading is just broken. You don't want to be spamming crosses. You want to be looking for cutbacks to the edge of the box and trying to play little intricate 1-2 passes between your strikers. Now, talking about strikers, if you are one and you're listening to this, and you're using a similar build to me, 5'6" and down with a lot of sprint speed, just get in behind the CPUs, guys. Pull out onto a fullback, try and get in between the centre-back and the fullback, or even around the outside of the fullback, and rely on a triangle through ball down the line. As you can see on screen, we do this a lot. Gets us in a lot, and it's a very effective way to play striker when you're playing with only a few players against another few players on pro clubs. So give it a go. So important, if you're the CDM listening, that you sit, you try and cut the passing lanes. Sometimes you can just be clever. If there's 4 of you playing and you know that you come up into a game against 2, so 2 players are playing against you, just mark the free pro. Just follow him everywhere. You know what I mean? If you're good at that, you can cut off all of his options and you basically leave their any playing career mode. Too many times we see CDMs set up who just want to come up and have shots and all of this stuff. I'm pretty sure in our 94-0 run, since we've got to Division 1, Johnny P, our CDM, has had 0 shots. I don't even think he's been in their box. Now, a lot of these tips might sound a bit random, but throw them all together and you've basically got our game plan in a nutshell. We play with an any, we have the filters set up, we play close passing football, we don't cross the ball, we don't rush corners. The builds are all set up to be the best they can be, and it is as simple as that. Little differences in pro clubs go a massive way, and I'm hoping this video is going to help a lot of you guys go from whatever division you're in to the next one and just improve. What's really important about pro clubs is just playing a lot together and finding out how each other play. If you want more detail, I'm going to have a cam build setup coming to the channel tomorrow. I've got a striker build that I uploaded the other day. I'm going to throw a CDM build out for you guys on Sunday, and in all of those individual videos I break down the position and what a striker, a cam, a CDM should be doing to be better at the game. So click those videos, they're linked in the description. They'll be out on the channel if not in only a few days, and I thank you guys for all the support. I hope you guys are enjoying Pro Clubs at the moment. The numbers we're seeing are absolutely mental. Like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and we will be back with more Pro Clubs content tonight, live on stream, going for 100 wins and 0 losses. We've got to get 6 wins. Can we do it?